Well, hello everyone, and welcome to A Course in Miracles 365, Awakening to Love. I'm your host, Tomas Garza, with technical difficulties with the streaming service today. So technology is a beautiful thing. It brings us together, and sometimes it doesn't work. So I hope that you're enjoying your Tuesday here. It's the morning here in Arizona. So wherever you're joining me from, I want to welcome you and thank you for tuning in here. Where we are today is we're on a very special and very succinct lesson in the workbook. Hi, Stacy. How are you? Thanks for tuning in. It's lesson 80, and it's let me recognize my problems have been solved. So I could say very little about this or a lot, a whole lot, depending. But this is a very, very profound lesson in A Course in Miracles. It's very profound. And last week we looked at lesson 79, preceding it, which reads, let me recognize the problem so it can be solved. Makes sense, doesn't it? Let's recognize first that there is a problem, and let me recognize what it is. In the world, we spend so much time running around, and we spend so much time distracted thinking that the problem lies in one thing or another, when in fact it doesn't. So we might solve one problem, right, only to create a new problem. How often do we do that in the world? We do that in every aspect of our lives. We do that with our physical health. We do that in our jobs and careers, in our relationships with material possessions, where we may satisfy one need only to discover that we have a deeper burning need, right? It's not enough, or something like that. We so get caught up in this that it takes something like A Course in Miracles, it takes something like a spiritual practice to get us to step out of that rat race. Because it really is a rat race. It is like a hamster wheel. I know people characterize it as that, and it really is that. Because we distract ourselves so much that we don't even recognize that we're suffering, but we know we are, but we don't know what to do about it. That's lesson 79. Let's recognize the problem so that it can be solved. Hello, Bernadette. Thank you for tuning in here. Yep, live on my phone, which is very fun. Yeah. Improvise. So what we do with this is we repeat today's idea. Let me recognize that my problems have been solved. Okay, maybe they don't feel solved. Maybe you've got a stack of bills. Maybe you've got a health challenge or something that you're dealing with right now where things are not what you would like them to be. Life is like that often enough, isn't it? But our problems have actually, in truth, all been solved. So what is the problem? It's separation. Plain and simple. In A Course in Miracles and in this philosophy, and if you think about it and practice these ideas in truth and eventually in your experience, there'll be a realization that, oh yeah, separation is the issue. It's the issue. It's what causes us to feel unwhole. It's what causes us to feel insecure, maybe depressed. It causes us to feel lack, and it's what causes us to attack our fellow human beings, to attack animals, to attack each other, to attack the earth itself. It's what causes attack thoughts. It's identification with the ego. That's what it is. So what do we do about it? Well, first and foremost, recognize that the answer to separation has already been given. Because that's the truth, we can't help but be at peace deep down. Now remember, spiritual practice is about peeling away layers or removing veils, so to speak, or we've used the analogy here that they use in A Course in Miracles of walking through a bank of clouds that appears dark and thick and impenetrable, imposing, and you start walking through it and you realize, okay, this is just water vapor. I'm literally passing through to the light beyond. That's what we do. That's what we do with our spiritual practice. The problem has been solved. The answer has been given. The answer to the separation has already been given. What do we need to do? We need to open up to that fact. In other words, we need to allow that. Starts with lesson 80. Let me recognize that my problems have been solved. We all have a birthright to peace. You have a right to feel peaceful and whole. All of the time, constantly, not some of the time. Like in the world, some of the time we do, sometimes we don't. Yes. We have a right, each of us, to feel peaceful and whole 100% of the time. And this is one of the ways that we can practice this. Because as we discover going along, spirituality is all about experience. So don't you want to feel constantly at peace? I mean, deep down, we all do. That's why we're here. This is why a network like Enlightened World Network is attractive to us. That's why I'm here live right now. That's why you're watching, whether it's live or on the replay. There's a reason why you tuned in here. And lesson 80 is very, very simple in terms of the practicalities, which, as we've talked about on the live stream and we talked about yesterday, is one of the areas where people really get hung up in A Course in Miracles, is on doing things so-called correctly. Lesson 80 is really simple. It just encourages us in several different places in the commentary. It encourages us to repeat the day's idea over and over and over again. Repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. And I'm going to read some of the comments as they're coming through here. Yeah. And Bernadette, yeah, so we often start off on one path and we discover that that path is not the healthiest for us, right? Which could be physical health, or it could be, our emotional health, right? It could be a relationship that we discover is now unhealthy, and where once it served, it no longer serves. So yeah, spirituality is like that. I appreciate this comment because it's a practice of taking a look and being really honest with ourselves and assessing what no longer serves us. Yeah, assessing what no longer is in our best interest and being honest about that. And it's not selfish. In fact, it's one of the kindest, most loving acts that we can do, because if we're not exercising kindness for ourselves, how can we truly extend love? If we don't love ourselves, if we don't work on loving ourselves, how can we truly extend love to the rest of the world and to other people? How can we do that if we're not loving and if we don't take time to notice these things that are no longer serving us? Yeah, I love that. Recognize that the answers are all there. Just recognize what no longer serves. And hello, Hope. How are you? Thank you for tuning in. Yes, this is one of my favorite lessons. Actually, I could say that about all of them, to be perfectly honest. It's just such an amazing, and I'm talking about the workbook for students here, it's such an amazing body of work, how one idea builds on the next and builds on the next. And again, here, lesson 80, repeat this idea. Let me recognize my problems have been solved. If you don't feel like they have, you don't have to believe that they have, just know that they have, and practice the day's idea, even if that just means repeating it. Let me recognize that my problems have been solved. Yeah. One problem, separation, one solution. Given by the Holy Spirit, given by God, by your spiritual practice, whatever that looks like. Yeah, your guides, whatever that is for you, there's one problem and one solution. And it really is simple. It's up to us to put all of that into practice. Okay. Well, thank you all for tuning in here. Yes, and hope, yeah, it's a really wonderful feeling to have, isn't it? Agreed. Yeah. Thank you for that comment. I completely agree. And what we're going to be doing here is we're going to, on this live stream and in the workbook, we're going to enter into another review period where we're going to review ideas 51 through 80. And what we'll do is we'll start that tomorrow with workbook lesson 81. Now, I want to tell you, and you're most welcome, Stacy. This is my pleasure to be here with all of you. I'm enjoying doing this on my phone rather than the traditional way. I love the traditional way too on Restream, which streams to multiple different platforms. Ideally, I'll be on that tomorrow, but it's fun to see the comments as they come up here on the telephones. I'm able to respond to everybody much faster. It's different. Yeah, this is plan B, by the way. So it's different and it's fun. So we're going to have fun going through all of the ideas 51 through 80. And we have talked about things like forgiveness and recognizing what the problem really is that we have to solve. And that is this sense of separation that we feel and experience in the world. So before I wrap up, I want to invite you, if you have not already, to please check out Enlightened World Network's YouTube channel from Saturday, May 1st on this show, A Course in Miracles 365, Awakening to Love, because Terry Angel joined me as my very special guest. She's in Sedona right now on her Peace on Earth tour, and you may follow her on Facebook. But Terry is a really wonderful soul and has been a student of A Course in Miracles for over 30 years. So she sat down with me on Saturday, May 1st, for a very special conversation and shared how this material, this self-study curriculum, has impacted her spiritual growth and her entire life. And it's really amazing. So you want to check that out. She does it with her characteristic humor and her heart, and yeah, you'll definitely want to check that out. That is available on the YouTube channel for Enlightened World Network. Now, if you haven't been on there, you'll notice that each show has its own playlist, and this is A Course in Miracles 365. So yeah, definitely check out Terry on there, because I do have special guests here on the show from time to time. It's a lot of fun for me to sit back and just let someone else talk, even though I love to do all the talking sometimes. It's really fun because there are so many different experiences, and what I aim to show with all of this is that there's so much that can be gained from these universal spiritual practices. They really do apply to life in any form, and it doesn't matter what your spiritual background is. There's something definitive and practical to be gained from the study of A Course in Miracles. There really is. So I want to invite you to tune into that. And hello, Jennifer. Thank you for tuning in and joining us here. So guys, if you're catching all of this on the replay, again, YouTube, May 1st, Terry Angel was my guest here, and I just want to point that out one more time. All right, so we're going back into the workbook tomorrow for lesson 81, and thank you to all of you who have joined me here today, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day.